Thunderbolts was supposed to be a slam dunk for Marvel. Seriously, a movie with fantastic reviews, practical effects, and a 95% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes sounds like a guaranteed hit, right? So how did it end up becoming one of the biggest box office bombs in MCU history? The total cost pushing $300 million, the movie needed to make at least $425 million to break even. It didn't even get close. This is the story of how a perfect storm of bad luck, creative miscalculations, despite the great reviews. Ticket sales dropped off a cliff in the following weeks as other big movies came out. It ended its run with only about $382 million worldwide, leaving it deep in the red. This officially made it the second worst performing movie in MCU history, only beating the infamous flop The Marvels. The lesson here was painfully clear. Good reviews don't mean a thing if the brand itself is starting to rust. The days when any MCU movie was a guaranteed billion-dollar hit are long, long gone. With so many movies and shows coming out every year, each one feels less like a special event and more like just another piece of content. People are getting pickier, especially when they know the movie will be on Disney Plus in a few months anyway. Since Avengers Endgame, the quality of Marvel's projects has been all over the place, and that has really damaged the trust they once had with audiences. It proved that even a critically acclaimed movie couldn't connect if the audience just isn't there for it. Just days after the movie came out, Marvel officially changed the title to Thunderbolts. The New Avengers, spoiling the end of their own movie in a desperate attempt to get more people in seats. It was a clear admission that the Thunderbolts brand wasn't strong enough on its own. B-list roster, confusing continuity. And good old-fashioned franchise fatigue created a disaster that not even glowing reviews could fix. This has weakened the entire brand, meaning movies that don't feature an A-list hero have a much lower chance of succeeding. Before 2020, 19 of Marvel's 22 films made over $500 million. The multiverse saga, only 6 out of 13 have managed to do that. Thunderbolts was simply the latest casualty of this new reality, paying the price for the mistakes of the movies that came before it. And a worn-out audience caused a movie to completely fly off the rails. Or is Marvel stuck having to rely on Spider-Man and the Avengers from now on? I want to know what you think, so drop a comment down below. And if you like these breakdowns of Hollywood's biggest money pits, make sure you hit that subscribe button for more. Reports are already saying the studio is pulling back from its more obscure characters to focus on guaranteed hits like the next Avengers and Spider-Man films. Thunderbolts was a big swing on a new kind of superhero team. But it was a bet that cost Marvel millions, and proved once and for all that in today's Hollywood, the MCU is no longer invincible. The issues, it turns out, were baked right into the movie's DNA. The team was made up almost entirely of B-list characters from different corners of the MCU. You had characters from Disney Plus, shows like The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and movies like Black Widow. And while die-hard fans love Yelena Belova and John Walker, they just don't have the same star power as Iron Man or Captain America. To the average moviegoer, the film felt like it came with homework. You had to have watched hours of other shows just to know who these people were. You have to understand, on paper, this movie looked like a winner. It was sold as a darker, grittier story in Marvel's Phase 5. Focusing on a team of anti-heroes the MCU had been building up for years, but instead of being a major part of the team, he was turned into the main villain and had way less screen time than anyone expected. The big finale wasn't a huge city-leveling fight. It was a smaller, more psychological battle that just didn't deliver the epic action many people paid to see. Plus the fact that classic Thunderbolts from the comics like Songbird and Red Hulk were missing left a bad taste in the mouths of many longtime fans. Think of it as Marvel's answer to the Suicide Squad, a concept that fans had been excited about since the early days of Guardians of the Galaxy. The team was going to be a who's who of fan-favorite supporting characters like Yelena Belova, Bucky Barnes, and the Red Guardian. Marvel's confidence was sky-high. They held press screenings almost 2 weeks early, which is usually a sign that the studio knows they've got a hit on their hands. And at first it looked like they were right. The initial reactions were glowing. Critics called it the best Marvel movie in years, praising its emotional depth and awesome team chemistry. It landed an incredible 88% from critics, and that stellar 95% audience score, putting it in the top tier of MCU films, at least according to viewers. With that kind of buzz, a box office smash should have been locked in. The reality was way, way more brutal. So where did it all go wrong? Well, the first red flag was the budget. Let's talk numbers, because this is where the story gets ugly. The film cost about $180 million to make, which actually seems pretty reasonable for a Marvel movie. The problem was the marketing. Add in a marketing blitz of around $100 million, and suddenly the total investment is up to $280 million. Now, the rule of thumb in Hollywood is that a movie needs to make about 2.5 times its production budget just to break even, because theaters take a big cut of the ticket sales. For Thunderbolts, that meant it needed to hit at least $425 million worldwide. Some analysts even put the number closer to $500 million. The movie opened to a respectable $76 million in the US, but it just couldn't keep that momentum. If the reviews were so good, why didn't people show up? First off, let's be real about the roster. And what about the team's powers? Fans were hyped to see Sentry, who is supposed to be one of the most powerful characters in all of comics. But this wasn't just about Thunderbolts. The movie also had the bad luck of being released when the whole Marvel brand was starting to show some serious cracks. There's a reason superhero fatigue has become such a common phrase. The whole multiverse saga has also felt a lot less focused than the Infinity Saga before it. So, what does the Thunderbolts fiasco mean for the future of the MCU? Is it even possible to launch a new team with lesser-known characters anymore? In the end, Thunderbolts became a very expensive lesson for Marvel Studios. You could almost feel the panic from the marketing department. The huge financial loss on this film is a wake-up call that Marvel's strategy needs to change.